Mindset Mashup podcast. Here we are. Welcome back if you're back here. If you're new here, then welcome here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. But look, I just want to say thanks for your time. This is going to be valuable. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to go straight into it. But look, before I start, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. Help a fella out. We went top 200 a couple months ago. We want to come for that top 100. We want to get there. But look, I've got a great guy here with me today. We've been on the call 2 minutes, and I'm already just feeling good energy from this guy. So I just want to introduce Belange, who is a business consultant, predominantly helping businesses with their brand awareness and brand marketing. We're going to go into about his story, his tips and lessons, what he's learned along the way. But Belange, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thank you for having me on, and let's definitely go for that top 100. Go for it. Let's go.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you know the blessing is I'll never know which episode's gonna make it go over the line. So this could be it. We don't know, but
We
we
don't
keep going.
know. We hope. You keep going.
And do you know what, Bilal? Since we're on that topic, do you know what I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the outcome; it's about the process.
That's it, man. You already know. You already know
And
the process.
and I don't know about you. You might
Mm-hmm.
have been smarter than me, but in my initial journey as an entrepreneur, I didn't grab that concept straight away. That
Yeah.
I was quite focused on outcomes. I come from a sales background. It
Mm-hmm.
was all about results.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? How did you come to find that it's actually about the process and not the outcome?
Well, you know, similar. I get to the sales background. I'm from a very creative background, where the end product is what's loaded, right? Just as getting the sale, getting the money in the bank is what's most important. Very similar to the creative world, right? The finished piece, whether it was me helping people, music, photos, films, videos, whatever it was that finished piece that was so important. But when I got into more entrepreneurship side of the world, then I realized about the process, right? Because on that other side, I wasn't the entrepreneur. I was just part, I was a cog in the wheel. So it was very end result. Get it done, get the image, the music, whatever, looking amazing. But when you get over to the entrepreneur side and you start to realize, well, the result is a given. You need to get that. So let's look at how we can get that all the time, hence the process.
And it's interesting who you become in the process, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting what's
Yeah.
uncovered about yourself during that process.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely had to. I've definitely figured out who I am a lot more through the vehicle entrepreneurship. Just
Yeah.
having that patience, having that sort of curiosity of
Mm-hmm.
learning, that curiosity of finding out more about who I am in the midst of adversity, who I am in the midst of celebration, who I am in the midst of success.
And that's a
Um,
process as well.
it's all, yeah, it's all.
Mhm.
Does the process ever stop?
It doesn't, and it's a fool's errand to think it does. So you kind of have to embrace it, right? If something is never going to end, well, you're better off embracing it, right?
Yeah.
And use it to the max because, well, it's not going to end. It's like the process of quote unquote finding yourself is a lifelong journey. So why not enjoy it?
How do you enjoy it?
Unplugging, bro. Unplugging, because like I say a lot to some of the mentees that I talk to, when something is this close to your face, you can't see anything. You literally can't see anything. So you have to take the time to just push back and and enjoy whatever that moment is. Like literally happened to me last week. I'm sort of 3 weeks into a 90-day sprint. And a lot of people be like, yeah, 3 months is not a long time. But when you're putting in the energy,
Yeah.
3 months is quite some time. So if you have to do something consistently every day without fail, it can get to you, right? So I unplug and just be grateful for where I've where I've reached, my journey, good stuff that people say about me. That's how I do, you know.
It's two questions now
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like this would be an interesting angle to
Yeah.
what we're about to say. So the first one, do you find
Mm-hmm.
that easy to unplug?
No, it's not. It's not easy at all to unplug because I work from home, right? I used to gallivant all over the world, gallivant all over London, and now I gallivant in my home, you know? So if you're always in your home space and your brain is always on, it's hard to unplug, right? Because if I have to go to a particular place every day, all I have to do is just stop going there. And that kind of helps the process, right? A change of environment. But if you work at home, your home is your environment. Yes, you can go to a different room. I get that. But it's even harder to unplug mentally.
Yeah.
Like mentally, it's the hardest thing for me to unplug. And I can only do it when I travel. That's when I can 100% unplug.
I find unplugging really difficult
Yeah.
because I love, and I'm sure the reason why I ask you because I feel you may be similar because I really love the hustle. I really love it, and I sort of get drawn in by it. But I completely agree with what you're saying about when you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
No, you can't. You can't.
And how you mentioned travel earlier,
Yeah.
so that is that the only way that you unplug, getting out of home, getting like how because that must be difficult. Small technical error, so thanks for bearing with us. Belange, welcome back.
Yes, yes.
So
Zoom is hating on me right now.
it's fine, man. Talking about unplugging, I didn't mean now.
Literally,
Yeah,
literally.
so we're speaking about unplugging,
Yeah.
both agreeing about finding it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned travel. When you're not traveling, how do you unplug?
Lately I've been getting into just whole meditating, right? So I listen to Ray Dalio, right?
Yeah.
Listening to Ray Dalio, and he's talking about, meditation, how it helps him unplug and whatnot. And I'm I'm really good at researching. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. When I decide to go into some research, I will go all the way in, and that's exactly what I did. And chasing rabbits and whatnot. And I thought I was like, all right, cool. You're not always gonna be able to travel, so you need to be able to unplug mentally in your own space at a drop of a dime. And that is the power of meditation and whatnot. So I've just been getting into that, at the end of the day, or sometimes at the beginning of the day, just take time and do my best to just zero everything out. And I find this is being helpful of late, for sure.
What is it? I I don't meditate as much as I should, admittedly. Hands up with that. I've got my own views on meditation,
Mm-hmm.
like fairly positive, to be fair.
Yeah.
What do you, if I was to say, what is the best thing for you about meditation? What would you say?
Well, when you get into the unknown, the possibilities are you don't know, right? Because you're literally stepping into the unknown. So for anyone to say precisely this, that, I'll be like, well, that's a bit of a myth because it's different, I guess, for every individual because you're stepping into the unknown. And just to tie it with entrepreneurship, a lot of what we do is the unknown, right? And that's kind of crazily exciting. You're starting a business, you don't know what is going to happen, but shit, I'm going for it, right? And this meditation thing, from everything I've heard about it, is like, well, I haven't heard it go left, really.
Yeah,
People
fair comment.
feel better about themselves and better about life and, clearer outlook on a lot of things. So it's like, all right, cool. this is an unknown for me. It doesn't look like, it'll take me left. So if it's helped others, they're no different to me. Let me give it a shot. And what I find, I guess.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it affects people differently and impacts people differently because we're all very different. I think something that I've heard you speak about in your videos about distractions and how social media can be distracting, which I think we can all agree on. Something that it does for me is I think it trains my mind to come back to the present and to get out of the thoughts. Like, because not often in a day do you go, right, I'm going to dedicate 20 minutes, 30 minutes to not letting my brain wander.
Yes.
And for me, I find that quite a powerful thing about meditation because you're going to go, it's a discipline. It is a discipline.
It is 100%, 100%. And one of the first things I found when I decided to meditate was that, first of all, you can't shut up internally.
Oh, well, yeah.
You literally can't.
It's scary. It's scary, actually.
Scary. Like, if you ever sit down and just say, all right, cool, let me listen to what on earth I'm saying in my own head. And you yourself will be like, yeah, there's a lot going on in here.
Yeah.
And then add on top of that social media and life in general. Then you ask yourself, rah, do I ever have a moment's peace?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you realize that, wow, it really is hard to be quote unquote at peace with yourself, that's when I was like, it's a discipline, and it's a discipline that will make you stronger. Because if we like us in the entrepreneurship world, we've all heard where you put your focus is where it grows, and so on and so forth. So that's a principle, right? And as far as I'm concerned, principles work across the board. If principles don't work in a certain area, then it's not a principle. So if where you focus grows, meditation is no different. So if I'm able to shut out the world, focus in on myself and my self-talk, then surely it will grow.
And transfers to other areas of your life.
100%, because everything is connected. Nothing is in a silo.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. Like, and not to get into all other kinds of conversations, but everything is connected. And, just like in nature, there's no straight line, right? Everything kind of radiates in a circle. And if you contract a circle, it goes back to what? A single point.
Yeah.
And if you're the single point to which everything radiates, doesn't it make sense for you to try and take care of yourself a bit better internally?
I truly believe you can't succeed without doing the inward work.
You can't.
Or at least, actually, let me retract that a little bit. Sustainable success, because there is a difference. And
right. Facts.
I think to sustain success, the inward work has to be done. Right. And I think Inky Johnson, I don't know if you've heard of him, great speaker. He says a quote that stuck with me. I heard it about 4 or 5 years ago. It's never left me. It's the way you do everything. The way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
And as we talk about the meditation and doing the inward work, that's come up. And when we spoke about the meditation, not being able to shut your thoughts off, that's the way you do everything. So when you're an entrepreneur and you can't shut that voice off, what do you think's going to happen when you're on the phone to that client, when you're writing up that business plan, when you're going for that VC fund? The noise is going to keep going, and it's going to, and as you said, where your energy flows, your focus goes, or where your focus goes, your energy flows. Sorry. So what happens? Your mind's going to be all over the place when it should be
in one place.
Yeah, like I think there's another quote: "You should be where your feet are."
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm glad we had that. And to be honest, that's a nice reminder for me. I feel like I'm going to have to dedicate a little bit of time to that. So you mentioned something
Mm-hmm.
And this was very interesting in one of your videos.
Yeah.
And anyone that's listening and doesn't follow Belange on social media, I'd highly recommend his page. It's very short videos and very engaging and very good information. But this I liked because I related to this. You
Mm-hmm.
said, and you sort of alluded to it earlier, and it's ironic how it's come up. So you said that when you go into research, you go in, you don't mind committing. And then
Yeah.
you said in the video, you've read like 20 to 30 books. However,
Mm-hmm.
once you know the fundamentals,
Yep.
get to work.
Facts. 100%.
And do you believe
Mm-hmm.
as entrepreneurs, they
Mm-hmm.
spend too much time in their head doing research,
Mm-hmm.
listening to videos on how to grow a business
Mm-hmm.
rather than getting to work?
I do believe they do, but I can speak for myself. It comes from it can come from a place of fear, right? And two, it can come from a place of fear. So so let me say it this way. If you can't recognize patterns, right? Pattern recognition is a phenomenal skill. And that's what I meant by, if you had to read 30 books on marketing to recognize a pattern, there's a problem.
That's deep.
You know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah.
Pattern recognition is a massive skill. So that's what I meant by, I read 30 odd books, 20, 30 odd books. But then I noticed the patterns and I was like, well, 5 of these books explained all the patterns. And as I mentioned before, a principle works across the board. So if I know now the principles, then I have no need to read anymore. Let me get to work. And once I get to my next level,
Then
I might find new patterns, right? Because if you're a 0 to 100K entrepreneur, certain patterns might affect you immediately. When you're going from 100 to 1,000,000, you might notice other patterns. So don't read. The problem I was having was that I was reading so much and I was dealing with problems with people that had 10 mil. I'm not there yet. So I don't need the 10 mil pattern recognition. I need my stage pattern recognition. So this is what I mean by, you don't need to read so much in regards to entrepreneurship. Now, in regards to life, oh, you can do a lot of reading because that never stops. But in regards to entrepreneurship, getting shit done, don't make the mistake of going, oh, I'm going to read 1,000,000 books on marketing. It's not going to help you. It
and
really.
and to be honest with you, I think, and I agree with everything you said, but just playing devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you read the books, it might not even set you up. Because I'm big on reading and I'm big on education and I believe and I back that. But
Mm-hmm.
the experience
Yeah.
of the leveling up
Mm-hmm.
is what's gonna create the momentum to level up. The knowledge is good and required because it allows you to spot patterns. It allows you to become a better problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
But the experience is what takes you there.
The experience is 100%. What they call it? Is it a dichotomy? So instead of black and white, it's the range in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that, oh, you have to just go 100% experience. Don't read anything. Just bump your head all the way till you find the solution. That's cool, right? But I'm not trying to waste 10 years bumping my head. So let me read some shit that can take 10 years into 3. I can bump my head for 3 years. I would rather that than bump my head for 10 years because I don't want to read. And it happens, right? And when you're reading biographies of people like the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffetts of the world, they champion reading like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And then you read or you listen to people it's not to judge them saying they're not as successful, but you listen to single digit millionaires and whatnot, and they're like, yeah, just go for it, just run it, do it. Both people have made money, right? So now it's down to the individual. Are you trying to do Bill Gates type money, which is 10-year, 20-year, 30-year lifespan projects? Or are you trying to do 7 years, let me make my 1 to 3 mil and live my best life? You have to know what lane you're trying to go down. Because if you're going for the 20, 30 years building an empire, reading a couple books is definitely going to help you.
Yeah. I think you'd be making a big assumption if you were to tackle anything without acquiring some knowledge before you get there. And as you said, reading's definitely important. But you also said something else.
Mm-hmm.
You also said something else there. You said about knowing where you want to go.
Yeah.
And up until fairly recently, I found that very challenging. Identifying the goal, identifying the mission. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting in the work? Why am I setting goals? Why am I doing things that I do?
Mm-hmm.
Since I found that, I've moved in a different way.
Yeah.
For you, have you always had foresight on where you wanted to go? Or is this something that's changed throughout your journey?
Well, one thing, presenter and comedian Eddie Caddy, working with him like a couple years back and good friend, he always used to say, I'm sure, people always say it, but it's something along the line of the goal is the same, but the process may change. Something similar like that. So the process may change, as in I might start 10 businesses before I figure out that this one is the one towards my goal. And that requires, not everybody's a clairvoyant. So you got to keep doing your thing, but eventually you'll find the thing that really takes you to where you believe that, that you want to go. If there's one thing I do know was that I've always been a creative person, right? So from GCSEs, art, I've done art, I've done graphics, I've done motion effect, like I've done the medias, the art. But when I went to uni, I said, I need to add the business side to this to make it make sense. And that's when I studied business, international business, and entrepreneurship to marry the two. So whether you want to call it fortunate, lucky, parents, whatever you want to call it, I didn't know where I'm going, but I had a vague idea of my strong suits that I want to build up through the educational system.
That's wicked. I like that. I have heard that. You said the goal can stay the same, but the process to get there is going to change.
Yeah, it's a shift.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of discipline with that as well. Talking about discipline, just being able to like go with the processes and being able to go through the failures, go through that sort of stuff, because it's not always easy to keep your obedience to the goal.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I told people now when they talk about business and this and that, I'm like, I know it's hard to say what you're trying to achieve, but you actually need to articulate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, are you trying to do a 3 to 7 year business, or are you trying to build this long-term empire? Because the time spans are different. They are massively different because you're now talking decades. And if you're talking decades, then you need to slow down. Because you're trying to do so much all at once, but you're trying to build an empire that might take you 20 years. And you're upset because 2 weeks, nothing's happened. Well, you're trying to build an empire of 2 decades. right? If you were just buying wholesale fruits and selling it in the market, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
You need speed like there's no tomorrow. But if you're trying to do something for 2 decades, I'm trying to build this amazing, I'm like, all right, cool. Now you need slow thinking. But everybody's on fire. Like, let me do things now. Let me do things now. But in business, sometimes it just takes time. Like, no one can speed up certain things unless you've got the capital. Like, if you've got the money to speed things up, by all means, do your thing.
Do you think there's danger in that?
In what sense?
Speeding up the process.
I guess yes and no. You know, money loves speed, but wealth requires time. You know, and
That's good.
people get that twisted. You know, when you're starting a business, you need money. Like, there's no two ways about it. You need capital, whether you borrow it or you make it through your business, you need to do it fast. Right? But wealth is measured in time. But a lot of people that I'm dealing with, we're at early stages. So things do need to move a bit faster. You know, but the danger comes when there's a misalignment in your mind. Like, let's say something really tactical. You want the whole world to kind of know you in 6 months. Cool. Do you have £1,000 a day budget to spend on ads? No, you don't. So there's a misalignment. Because if you had the budget in 6 months, £1,000 a month on Google, Facebook, you're gonna kind of be known, right? But you have this high expectation, but you don't have the budget for it. So there's that misalignment, and that's when it becomes dangerous. Not because your business might fail, but because your own brain is going to start hurting. Because you'll be like, oh my God, yeah, man, I need the whole world to know me so I can make sales. Da, 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 da. It's like, bro, you're doing £5 a day on ads. Like, what do you expect? Slow down.
Also, something that I often talk about is if that was to come true, have you got the systems in place to be able to deal with that kind of footfall coming into your business?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
That's
you
a
got,
whole different ballgame.
because you got to be careful what you wish for as an entrepreneur sometimes, because what can happen is that you go, oh, I just need 1,000 inquiries to do this, but the truth of it is, if you get 1,000 inquiries in, have you got the systems to facilitate that many people coming into your business and be able to provide them a service?
Exactly.
And as an entrepreneur, where I am right now, I'm very careful about what I wish for, or I shouldn't say wish for, about what I'm working towards, because going back to that level stuff, if 1,000 people come through my doors right now, I couldn't facilitate that business. So my whole lane right now is not about facilitating 1,000 people. It's about facilitating the amount of people that I know I can service, I know I can impact, and I know I can do what I say I'm going to do. And I've got the systems for that.
Yeah.
and I'll grow that. And I'm not saying that's what I'm going to stay at.
Yeah. But it's a process.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be able to grow that. So, and I'm so glad this has come up, because we could almost end the podcast right now. And if you're an entrepreneur listening to this right now, you need to go and figure out what me and Belange just said. Like, having the systems to facilitate what you want is completely different to wanting something that you might think you want.
Yeah. 100%. It's like they're not ready. You know, you think you're ready, you want the results.
Yeah.
But you haven't thought about the process.
Yeah.
Just to bring the conversation full circle.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes time.
It does take time, and it should take time. Like, listen, if you're earning an income off your own back, and you've got flexible, you can work on your own watch, your own diary, and you can earn a lot of money from it. That is a privilege, and you should have to work hard for that, and you should
Mhm.
have to take your time and had to build something like that up, because it does not come overnight, and it shouldn't come overnight, because there's people working just as hard as you, shedding blood, sweat, and tears, working a 9 to 5 job, and if you want to break that system and you're not willing to work hard, you
It's
shouldn't
not
be
the
here.
lane.
You shouldn't be here.
Shouldn't be here. And I think that's one thing I was discussing recently about when you're on social media a lot, like we are, right? The algorithms are designed to feed you what you want. So if you're an entrepreneur looking to grow, all the content is
Yeah.
going to be of other entrepreneurs who are growing, who are already there, and they're saying they made millions, and you feel like, right, everybody's doing it. Why not me? Like, and for me, it has the capacity to distort your reality.
Mm.
Because if your brain sees a particular thing over and over and over and over and over again, it thinks it's more important than it is. And
Yeah.
you're not even going to realize that. So all of a sudden you think, oh my God, all the entrepreneurs that I even know, they're all just killing it. But I'm not killing it yet. Like, what's going on? So that's why it's important to unplug. But it's also, it has the capacity to distort your reality, and you start to get all emotional and you want to do things fast.
Well, it triggers automated responses in your mind. And those
Mhm.
responses are going to be, you're going to be operating and making decisions based off of fear, panic, and stress,
Yeah.
because you're looking at somebody else. And what
Mhm.
do you think is going to happen to your decision making when you're in that position? You're going to make bad decisions. You're going to make, like, yeah, you're not going to make good decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm, I'm, I've got to a point where I can see other people doing well, and I'm like, I'll find it. I'll find my way. Like, I'm okay. I'm comfortable with finding my own way of being able to do this entrepreneur stuff.
Mhm.
And like they say, success leaves clues, and I truly believe that. But it
Mhm.
says clues. It doesn't say it will show you the blueprint.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people out there saying it
Yeah.
shows you the blueprint, but it's not the way two people have make success of. If they show you the same path, they'll be very
Mhm.
different, and it'll be the
Mhm.
same for every successful person out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. Like, so many times through my journey, I was like, yeah, this social, I have a love and hate relationship for social media,
Yeah, I think we all do.
right? Yeah, I'm not the only one,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm like, you have to try to make it work, or you completely unplug and realize that other people are making it work without social media. So this is what I mean by it can distort your reality.
yeah, yeah.
People are making it without social. But since our world is so involved in social, it's as if we feel it's the only way, but it's not. But I learned, like, really recently, is like, it's not like I have to see social media as the enemy. That's not it. It's how whatever rose tinted shades I'm wearing, I need to clean them up.
Well, you
And
treat it for what it is, because you've got a wider context of social media. You won't treat social media like your business depends on it if you've got more exposure to other people in other areas. And I think that's a good perspective. And the other thing that's just sort of come to mind, it makes me laugh. If you've got a goal and a vision and you're letting a 10 to 30-second video distort your reality, I think you need to go and check on your self-awareness about, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen to me. I
yeah.
just want to make that clear, because I've
Mm,
had to have this conversation with myself and be like, you cannot be letting a 10 to 30-second video get under your skin and make you
yeah.
feel like you're doing something wrong. If you think you're doing something wrong, then you need to go sit at the end of your bed with the lights off and go, am I doing something wrong? And be completely honest with yourself.
Facts. Facts. But this is the power of social, though, right? Because
Yes, it is.
social, like, these are billion-dollar companies who have invested billions into figuring out how your brain works. So it's like, don't ever get it twisted by
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I'm just going to turn off Instagram and I'm gonna be okay. I don't know. Like, especially if they've worked their claws into your psyche, it's gonna take a longer process. So I'm like, yes, I get it. It's social, it's free, blah, blah, blah. But these companies have spent billions upon billions working out how to do things in your brain with or without your consent.
Yeah.
And I got to that conclusion because I love advertising. And as I said, I love research. So the deeper I got into advertising, I understood. I'm like, rah, this is borderline, for lack of a better word, diabolical. Like they can get into your mind without your consent.
When you're not even on the app.
When you're not even on the app. Like, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And that's what I mean by it's a love and hate relationship. But you've got to, well, I had to clean up my lenses so that I can do my best to see it objectively, right? As best as I can. Like, I removed all the socials off my phone. I only use it on the desktop. Put all these Chrome limiters and all kinds of things just to pattern myself and be like, look, do it for however long you need to be on it for to post and blah, 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 and keep it moving. Because, like, nah, they're good at what they do. Let me say it like that.
So, they are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So let's go. We're going to be wrapping up soon. I want to talk about advertising because I think that's a very interesting topic at the moment. I think for entrepreneurs, it's probably one of the biggest challenges. So if you were to give us if you were to give advice
Yeah.
for advertising right now, what would be the single best bit of advice you feel you can give to someone
For
about advertising?
It will be the fundamental principles of advertising. That is, you can't create desire in people. You can only give them what they want. That is the most fundamental principles in marketing. And it's principles like this that allows, for lack of a better example, the porn industry or any other industry that any society might morally look down upon. The fact that people want it will always mean there is a business. And if you advertise to what people desire, people are going to get in their pockets and pay.
So are you saying that as a business, instead of widening your focus about how many people you can reach, you should narrow down on the sort of people that want your service and find out a way to advertise into them adequately so they find you and not your competitor?
Well, I guess that's a very tactical way to pull it.
Yeah.
That is sure. And yeah, that's absolutely true as well. But in the finding who your people are, if you really know what they want and you market and you advertise towards that want, then you'll always make money.
So you go straight to the want. You go straight to the want.
You've got no other choice.
Yeah.
You've got no other choice. Like, I once gave advice to a lady who was selling like hair, and she was selling hair, and I was like, yeah, the hair is nice, blah, 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 blah. But I said, imagine if you'd done an advertising campaign and said the hair will look so good, your ex-boyfriend will text you, hey, big head, on his wedding day. Because there's women out there who are petty by nature. You will trigger them and they will more likely than not click on your ad, and then you've got them. Because these are desires. Like there's people out there who are petty. So if you can advertise, you go for that desire, I'm telling you, you're going to hit more nerves on the head than, oh, this is nice wavelength, 22-inch, you look amazing. Well, duh, so is everybody else. But if I go and do an advertising campaign that's going for the neck, then you're more likely than not get people's attention. And everybody's fighting for everybody's attention right now. So that's what I mean by the fundamental. You can't create desire. You got to give people what they want.
Yeah. How does someone find that?
Well, there's only 4 desires. There's 4 to 8 max, right? And
tell us 2 of them.
Survival and status. Your whole luxury industry, status.
That's interesting.
Flying private jet, more than not, status.
Is this why you think people are advertising about materialistic things now? Because that's the sort of things that people are most interested in.
Yeah, because materialistic things, I don't see them as a bad thing. The only reason why you'll say materialistic things are a bad thing is when people confuse the materialistic thing for something more than what it is.
Yeah, facts, 100%.
Like if your brand new Porsche 911 GT RS whatever got stolen, and you go and jump off a bridge, you'll be like, really? Otherwise, those who have a settled mind and don't see material things higher than they are, they'll laugh about it and call their insurance.
But not everyone looks at it like that, though.
And that's the reason why you always have people across the gamut of life. That's why you have the 1% all the way to the 99%.
Yeah.
If people are fortunate enough to have heard someone or read something that gave them that mindset shift, they'll be like, oh, fair enough. Like I always say, I'll never feel guilty for spending $500,000 on a watch or something. Right? I'll never feel guilty, and I'll never let anyone else make me feel guilty, because I see it as an appreciation of art. And art and beauty, and if you're willing to pay for it and it's your money, then do your thing. Because I see it as an appreciation of art, whether it's a £500,000 watch, £500,000 car, £500,000 piece of art. I like to recognize craftsmanship. That's just me.
Yeah, but so you look beyond the product, and I think that's and I get that. And so, yeah, no, I think that's a good. No, I think that's a good statement, and I think it is for looking, because I don't think there's anything wrong with materialistic things. What I was getting at earlier is I was wondering. I wonder if the reason why people go in, if you want to earn 200K this month, then you should come sign up to my program, and I've got a Lambo behind me, because they're doing what you said. They're connecting people's want to their service.
100.
And I'd love us as humans to stop putting so much value in these materialistic things, because because I by the way, I fully get what you say. Like, I love a nice, I like nice cars. I like nice clothes. I don't place my whole entity or my whole being in them. I just appreciate them. Do you know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that. There's
there's nothing
wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, highly skilled, blessed individuals created them, especially handcrafted stuff. 100%.
And yeah, you're 100% right, man. So let's let's wrap up. I like what you said. Advertising, connecting people to what they want.
Yeah.
That's a big one, and I hope they hear that. So I like to finish this up in different ways, but today I feel like the right way is you've been an entrepreneur for some time.
Mhm.
You set up a business, you mentor people, you coach people, you help businesses grow.
Mhm.
What do you think would be the most important thing you could say to an entrepreneur right now which could help them change their game?
Well, it's I guess it's twofold, right? And this is based on the fact that business is both the product and then how you market it, right? So it's twofold for that reason. So if you are an entrepreneur like us and we kind of sell ourselves, work on yourself.
Mm,
Very important because you are the product.
yeah.
And then the opposite side to that is learn how to market yourself, learn how to articulate your value. Because so many people are brilliant at what it is that they do. But the market does not care because we are distracted. So until you have the ability to articulate your value to the market, you're going to struggle.
What about if you have a product?
Well, you got to sell, you got to learn how to sell the product.
Yeah.
You know, you got to learn how to sell the product in any particular way. And as I said, let's take for just real quick example, you've got tablets and supplements that are just going crazy right now. But because people want to be healthy, it's the very self-survival. That's the instinct. I want to live longer. I want to survive. But if I'm a genius scientist and I've made something and I can't articulate it, then Boots is going to outsell me like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. So basically, what you're talking about is being able to, bringing into what you said earlier, being able to articulate the message, how you connect people to what they want, how you
There you go.
demonstrate whether that's a service or product.
Yeah,
You need to get good at that.
that's it. So that's the twofold. Work on yourself and learn how to articulate your value. That's the one line.
Where can people find you, bro?
You can find me on the gram. I'm now just putting out longer content on YouTube. So Belanjo Kanji, that's on the gram and that's on YouTube. So that's where you find.
I'll put that both in the description. But listen, if you're still here, if you made it here, first of all, just go and implement something that
That's it.
myself or Belange said today. Remember, it doesn't matter about the fundamentals. You need to get to work. Then take the fundamentals. That was wrong. Don't worry about the fundamentals, but put them into work. Don't forget about them. Take them and get to work.